really, really helps if I press all the buttons while the opening's going on instead of just sitting here dancing to it. Because that's pretty much what I was doing. But that's okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to PACE News. Yes, Psychedelics and Cannabis Education News. It's pretty exciting. It is December 12th. Oh my God, we are halfway to Christmas. We are live here from the Legacy420.com news desk, and we bring you our global PACE News. My notes say reefer reporters, so I'm really accentuating that PACE News here on the PACE Radio Network. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Cindy. How are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
I'm alive, and I'm feeling great.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Packing to head to Ontario and then heading for warmer temperatures. I'm so jealous.
Yes, and I will be coming to you from Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
That is assuming we can still get internet reasonable there. I think we can. Last time we did, so I guess it depends where we're at the moment.
Yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Well, we've got 8 stories, 4 before and 4 after the break. We might as well get to them, hey?
Sure.
We are heading over to Mugglehead Magazine to start it off. I got to get pop-ups off my windows. Cronos Group unveils Canada's first CBC gummy. Isn't that like a TV station?
What do you mean?
CBC
Chrono?
TV?
CBC, yeah. But I don't understand what CBC is unless it is made for the people that run CTV. I guess so.
Yeah.
CBC.
Anyway, that was my attempt at a joke.
A Toronto-based cannabinoid company has launched a novel new product with a high concentration of cannabidichromine, CBC. A company announced the debut of its Spinach Feels Day Trip Mango Lime Gummies on Wednesday, the first CBC gummy in Canada containing a 3-to-1 ratio of CBC to THC. Cronos says it has utilized the Ginkgo Bioworks platform for the product's organism design and development.
Interesting. Following the commercialization of the CBC product, Cronos will be issuing Ginkgo approximately 489,000 common shares, which represents 33% of the total anticipated issuance of common shares associated with the cannabinoid. We're incredibly excited about the potential of CBC, and the Spinach Feels Day Trip gummies have a perfect combination of THC and CBC, which offers a unique and differentiated experience, says Mike Gornstein, who's the president and CEO of Cronos.
Our patent-pending formulation is its own special vibe. It's the perfect product to energize your high and lead you on an uplifting adventure or an impromptu dance party. Let it take you on a trip and enjoy wherever you might end up. Currently, the product is only available in British Columbia and Alberta, but it will make its way to the remaining Canadian provinces in the coming weeks. Our project with Cronos is focused on building strains that produce 8 target cannabinoids at high quality and purity, says Ginkgo Bioworks. Ginkgo also says it is thrilled to be working with Cronos as the Toronto company builds the world's most innovative cannabinoid platform. They still didn't tell us what
CBC is.
Yeah, what does it actually do?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
It managed to confuse me more, that story.
Yep.
Usually I get some kind of resolve. I learn something. I'm more confused than when we started reading the story.
Yeah, me too. But we will look it up. But we're going to head off to the second story. Maybe I can do that on break. We're going to head off to the second story, coming to us from StratCan. How edible extracts are getting around the 10 milligram limit.
The Cannabis Act attempted to take decades of global cannabis innovation and distill it into a few manageable categories that ensure Canadians remain safe and people roughly know what they're buying. After a year of the act in play, regulators felt confident enough to bring edibles and beverages into the fray. Cannabis 2.0. The delay wasn't unfounded. Cannabis edibles are a tricky beast to tame, primarily because they're so difficult to define.
It was decided that the defining feature of a cannabis edible was that it is consumed as food. The directive is delightfully vague in its precision in that anything that is not consumed as food is therefore not an edible. Um, the legacy market has primed consumers for large dose edibles, even if those doses don't live up to the label. And the lobbying groups like Cannabis Council of Canada have made the reconsideration of potency limits on edibles a core mandate of their efforts to reform the industry to tackle illicit trade.
And Organigram saw this as an opportunity to sidestep a glaring issue in the current regulations: 10 milligram THC caps on packages of edibles. The workaround is simply produce an edible that is not consumed as food. Hence, the naming conventions of lozenges, sublinguals, etc. And their Edison jolts were born. 10 milligrams THC each with 10 lozenges in a package for a total of 100 milligrams THC. Organigram declined to provide comment on this topic, but Katie Hilliar, who's the senior manager of corporate communications at Aurora, commented that they develop innovative products while staying within the federal regulatory framework. We developed glitches based on insight that consumers wanted an ingestible extract that was an alternative to cannabis capsules, but still provided a convenient, discrete format with a desirable taste.
Glitches from Aurora's brand Drift are perhaps the most interesting example of non-edibles. They purport to replace capsules while providing a palatable flavor and satisfying chew. However, like Flintstone's chewable gummy vitamins, they are not food.
Huh.
In a response to questions about products like Aurora's glitches, a representative for Health Canada told StratCan that the agency is aware of the product and is looking into the situation. This not an edible nonetheless requires a category in which it can be approved, sorted, and sold, like infused pre-rolls. The last concept to break the notion of category, the realm of extract, lay as a clear destination.
And if extracts can have milled flour, concentrates, paper, and terps, like infused pre-rolls, the tolerance for additives appears to be the most forgiving. Some forest-hardened potheads will go as far as to say that you can eat extracts straight from the jar. Efficacy and palatability be damned for the purest high.
And
Andre Dobbs, who's co-founder of the Village Bloomery, a retailer in Vancouver, told StratCan that so far, edible extracts are very well received. Good value and a happy medium between capsules and gummies. The kinslips from California took a minute to catch on, but they're all caught up now. The edible extract marries value with candy. Folks dead set on value will go capsule, but many are looking to have a yummy infused treat.
Mm-hmm. The edible extract loophole. Ironically, few things define the current state of the edible selection in Canada more clearly than their pervasive ingredient, sugar. It also happens to be one of the few additives that explicitly aren't allowed in cannabis extracts.
Oh.
The section of cannabis regulations can be affectionately referred to by some as the loophole. Section 1 defines the ground rules for vape cartridges and any extract that needs something extra to reach its full potential. Section 2 puts some guardrails in the category that ensure your honey oil isn't just oily honey, because lungs don't appreciate sugar.
All this comes together to mean that if you combine cannabinoids with carriers, flavors, and stabilizing agents, as long as they're not sugars or a few other banned substances, you can legally call your product an extract, with the excise tax and THC limit implications, as long as it is not consumed as food. Cass Wichelow, order manager at an independent retail store in Ontario, told StratCan that nobody asks for them unless they've had them before. If you have questions, I point to our peppermint CBD oil and blue raspberry THC oil. The same thing that allows them to be legal allows jolts.
The current solutions and the implications. Hillier from Aurora explains using, oligofructose,
right.
a dietary fiber that maintains quality and stability of the THC. Our team was able to create a unique formulation for a chewable extract product, while staying within the regulatory requirements for THC levels and ingredients. Organigram submitted a patent in 2021, buccal dosage forms, compromising that lovely word, that is currently pending. They were the first to discover that oligofructose can be legally used in cannabis extracts and provide a versatile foundation for building these extracts. The Edison Jolts from Organigram, lozenges from rebrands, Aha, and Drift Glitches from Aurora use oligofructose as a scaffold for their cannabinoids and other ingredients.
Wow, I'm glad you read those two because, man, some of those words were really big.
Oligofructose. I'm never gonna forget that word now.
There's that other one, oligoshuck. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
I didn't even bother.
all you need to know about the sweet tasting, there it is, oligosacharide, I guess, from the Greek for a few sugars, is that it is considered a sugar or sweetener in Canada, while boasting 30 to 50% of the perceptible sweetness of standard sucrose. Biologically speaking, it is closer to dietary fibers like insulin or inulin.
Yeah, inulin.
Like fiber, it is not broken down by digestion and has few calories. It can contribute to gut health, but large amounts may also cause abdominal discomfort, gas, or cramping. Ilya Sederburny, founder of and CEO of rebrands, a privately held Toronto-based LP specializing in edible and ingestible cannabis products, told StratCan that the use of plant-based fibers in sugar-free products has been a widespread and common practice for decades. While our extract lozenge formulation is, in fact, very simple, this industry is all about execution.
Mm-hmm. The most obvious implication of current edible extracts... Sorry, I just got a message. I had to look down and read it. Is the different rules concerning excise tax and caps on allowable THC. Those who took the traditional edible route, replete with sugar and ingredients often considered to be food, are rightly feeling a little snubbed by what could be considered a loophole. Dobbs, the Vancouver cannabis retailer, continued by saying they actually translate as a value offering. You can buy a pack of 2 chews totaling $9 after tax, a bottle of 30 10 milligram capsules for $40 after tax, or a $10 pack of 10 milligram lozenges for around $20.
Wow. Sarah Briani of rebrands said that it is exorbitantly costly and wasteful to package 2 to 5 bite-sized pieces of an edible product in a child-proof pouch or container. Imagine one could only purchase tiny airplane-sized bottles of alcohol. This is the case for edibles, and this embarrassing situation should be remedied as soon as possible. However, the grumblings of traditional edible manufacturers may soon turn to signs of interest. Those same edible craftsmen may need to simply ditch the sweeteners, a request more frequent from health-conscious consumers, to render their edible, a simple extract that can be consumed sublingually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going to go back to our previous story just for half a second because I did some looking up, and so did our boss Al.
Okay.
And we've got that CBC. We've got a little bit of an explanation for it. It gives me a couple of different names. It tells me that the CBC is an anti-inflammatory, which may contribute to the pain-killing effect of cannabis. It is one of the hundreds of cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant. They, in another page that I found, it calls it one of the main 6 cannabinoids, and is therefore a phytocannabinoid. It bears structural similarity to the other natural cannabinoids, including THC, THCV, CBD, CBN, among others. Let's go back to the page I was on. It can be used, it is found to have anti-tumor efficacy, especially in breast cancer. There's also evidence from animal studies that it can block pain and inflammation from arthritis better than anything else. It also suggested it may be a neuroprotected for conditions like Alzheimer's. So it has, and it also actually is an amazing treatment for acne and helps aid in fights against depression. So it definitely has a lot of benefits to it for sure. Just because
I just learned more right there in that 1 minute than I did reading that whole story.
Yeah. So just because, like we were both curious, Al did, and he shared the Wikipedia that he found. So y'all can go take a look right there by yourself, and check it out for sure. Meanwhile, we're gonna head on to our next story now that we know a little bit about CBC. Okay, I've got it up. And we're going to head on over to Mugglehead magazine, when we are learning that Health Canada provides guidance for clinical trials on psychedelics.
And Health Canada has issued a notice to stakeholders in the psychedelics industry, physicians, therapists, and others regarding its future expectations for clinical trials and regulations for psychedelic-assisted therapy going forward. The government department provided the guidance information on Monday due to a growing interest in the use of psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy and the inherent need to mitigate physical and psychological risk for participants involved in the studies.
In order for a clinical trial to proceed in the country, Health Canada must complete an assessment of risk management measures to determine whether it would be in the best interest of participants. Due to the increased risk of psychological harm to participants and the sensitive nature of these treatments, Health Canada has outlined risk management measures that it will require for all clinical trial applications. It says companies, entities, sponsors must present a sufficient plan in adherence with those measures or a viable alternative risk management strategy prior to commencing in-human studies with psychedelics.
And Health Canada says it expects that all therapists involved with clinical trials will be adequately trained on evidence-based protocols for psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy, and that they should be certified to provide psychotherapy by a regulatory body in their jurisdiction, if applicable. The government department also says any unlicensed members of a therapy team involved with clinical trials should be under the direct supervision of a licensed therapist, and that CTA should have a comprehensive description of the qualifications of therapists who will be recruited for these studies.
Details regarding their credentials, certifications, licenses, and previous training with psychedelic therapy should be stored in the applicable trials master file, according to Health Canada. The rapport between those participating in the trials and the therapist overseeing them is also of critical importance. And Health Canada says there should be sufficient therapy sessions before and after the administration of psychedelic drugs so that necessary trust can be built. Psychotherapy is necessary for the overall efficacy of psychedelic therapies and the integration process afterwards.
And throughout the process where drugs are being administered to trial participants, there should be at least 2 therapists present and a licensed physician overseeing the treatment, says Health Canada. It sounds very expensive. Yes. A physician should also assist with screening potential participants to ensure they meet the eligibility criteria for receiving psychoactive drugs and have the authorization to administer those restricted drugs while offering medical care if needed. Additionally, the physician can alter dosing regimens for participants depending on what they observe and feel is necessary. They should be clearly identified in the CTA because they assume liability for all medical acts performed throughout the studies.
Absolutely. When I was supposed to be part, but I went for iboga before I got called. I was supposed to be part of a psilocybin study here in Windsor, Nova Scotia, and so I, they had the same thing. They had a doctor and a psychiatrist that were running it, and then they had 4 therapists. The main therapist in charge, she was also a nurse, so she was a registered nurse, a registered therapist, and she had been working with psychedelics since she was 9 years old. So, and they did a lot of work to go find her. So yeah, like they're really watching it, but they're trying to bring in people that represent both sides. So they're trying to have both the medical side in there, but they're also having the shamanic healing side in there. And I think that that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Yep. I'm still clicking buttons and have to go back here. Yeah. So Health Canada says a safe and comfortable environment is of the utmost importance when administering psychedelic drugs because it minimizes the risk of having negative reactions or psychological harm of any kind. Participants need to have the option to stay overnight where the therapy session is being held to help ensure their safety. Those conducting clinical trials are responsible for reporting any serious adverse drug reactions to Health Canada. The government department says information on how to report any drastic or unexpected reactions to psychedelic drugs can be found at this link, guidance document for clinical trial sponsors.
And Health Canada says consent forms given to participants prior to undertaking psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy need to include a clear description of the physical and psychological risks associated with it. Increased heart rate and higher blood pressure are examples of physical risks associated with the use of psychedelic medicines. And those submitting to clinical trial applications must include a statement outlining the risks and anticipated benefits for those participating in the studies, and written consent must be acquired prior to commencing trials from every participant once they have been adequately informed of those risks and benefits.
Consent for touching participants must also be obtained prior to administering investigational drugs, of course, because you don't want somebody coming back and being upset. And that's why you have to have more than one therapist in your room at a time. Okay. Recording therapy sessions is only acceptable after receiving consent from participants to do so. And you have the option to withdraw. That's absolutely true. I was asked if they could record that, and I'm like, well, I kind of really want you to record it because I would like to, know what happens. And I have a therapist that would like to see it as well. Health Canada says the psychedelic drugs that are used in most of the country's clinical trials are psilocybin and MDMA. Those two drugs temporarily put participants in an altered state of consciousness, which can last several hours.
MDMA can cause an enhanced sense of well-being, increased extroversion, emotional warmth, empathy towards others, and a willingness to discuss emotionally charged memories. Enhanced energy, endurance, sociability, sexual arousal, and sensory perception. It can also temporarily engender feelings of love and warmth, said the notice. The use of psilocybin can result in a distorted sense of reality, an altered sense of time, mood changes, anxiety, confusion, and fear. Any investigational product or psychedelic drug used in Canadian clinical trials must meet good manufacturing practices.
Yes. Well, that was an interesting story. And it's nice that I have the memory of the study to compare it to, for sure.
Definitely.
That's really cool. I'm clicking buttons, folks. I'm not being quiet. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just I'm getting set up for the next story. We're going to head back over to StratCan. And over here, we are talking about edibles, extracts, and infused pre-rolls help increase sales in BC.
Yep, cannabis sales in BC increased and prices dropped in the second quarter of 2022 compared to the same time period of 2021. These figures increased from the previous quarter as well, despite the shutdown of the province's central distribution warehouse from August 15th to August 31st due to a strike. The BCLDB's newest quarterly cannabis sales data shows an 18% increase in wholesale cannabis grams, an 8% increase in wholesale sales, and an 8% overall price decrease, while the number of cannabis stores increased by nearly 18% in Q2 in 2022 compared to quarter two in 2021.
Yeah, the report covers July, August, and September. The LBD began sharing these quarterly results in October with their quarter one 2022 release. Despite these sales increases and price drops, overall sales of dried flower in the province declined in the second quarter compared to last year by 13% and nearly 9% in gram totals. These declines were offset by increases in beverages. They went up by 7%. Edibles went up by 27%. And inhaled extracts, so that would be the carts, went up by 62%. That's huge. Pre-rolls by 13% and seeds by almost 60%. Ingestible extracts, which...
sounds like they're just switching from flower to different ways to consume.
Yeah, everybody's trying something different, which is fantastic, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Pardon me. The ingestible extracts, which we were just talking about, are 16% of total sales. Topicals are actually 20% of total sales. They also declined in the second quarter of 2022. And carbonated beverages saw a 37% increase in sales compared to the second quarter in 2021, while all other beverages categories declined. I think people are enjoying having a few drinks of cannabis versus a few drinks of alcohol, and that might be why we're seeing the carbonated go up.
Definitely, and maybe because they're allowed more. Are they allowed more there in BC, percentage-wise, than we are here?
No. The percentage-wise is straight across the country, 10%.
Okay. In the cannabis edibles category, increases were in the other edibles, 49%, and cannabis chews, 33% categories, while baked goods declined by 20%, chocolate by 10%, and hard candy by 91%.
Wow.
Yeah, that surprised me. The biggest increase in the inhalable extracts category was other inhalables, which include infused pre-rolls at 571%. Wow. Disposable pens increased by 235%, and wax sales increased by 148%. Carts by 24%, hash by 21%, and resin and rosin by 19%, and shatter by 12%. It sounds like all the extracts are way up.
People are okay. Listen, pre-rolls went up by 571%. The only thing that tells me is that people are lazy and don't want to roll.
It's true.
Direct delivery sales, which launched in August, saw almost 750,000 in sales, with 285,000 coming from dried flower, 279 in pre-rolls. It gives you the breakdown there. Wow.
Big changes.
Wow. Pre-rolls went up by almost 600%. That's insane. It's medication time, Glenn, which means we are going to go hear from our sponsors. Glenn and I'll be right back after the break. You are watching Psychedelic and Cannabis Education News here on the Pace Radio Network YouTube channel and our Facebook pages. We'll see all of you guys in just under 3 minutes.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you think of the number of unique products developed in the fields, kitchens, and labs at Legacy 420, it's hard to think that one stands out above the rest. But tell that to the thousands of people who have tried this amazing breakthrough product.
This is our Sacred Salve. This is actually our extra strength. It comes in 5 different strengths. It's all natural, all organic. It typically works within 10 to 15 minutes of putting it on. It's good for arthritis, it's good for inflammation, any kind of pain. We're very proud of it.
Sacred Salve, so easy to apply, along with soothing relief. To select a strength that's right for you, come in and talk to your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Pace Radio Network. By patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we are back from our medication session, and we are the Pace News Reporters. Yes, we are. If you miss our live shows, don't forget they're available afterwards as a podcast on our website, which is probably not that anymore, but paceradio.net. I got to get the new information from. I 3 times I've almost said it. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I actually said it on my Tuesday show. Al filled in for Irene, and I actually, used our old name on that show, and he corrected me, and I'm like, for frig's sakes, I knew I was going to be the first one that screwed it up.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be done again.
I'm sure. We are heading over to my favorite publication now, the Fresh Toast. The new cannabis research bill is another sign that federal prohibition is ending, and we are got our fingers crossed for you, United States.
Yes, and more research will give HHS and Department of Justice more data that will support the fact that cannabis Schedule 1 status is absolutely ridiculous. Let me go down to the story here. According to Kyle Yeager of Marijuana Moment, this is a significant and historic moment in cannabis reform. President Joe Biden has officially signed a cannabis research bill into law, making history by enacting the first piece of standalone federal cannabis reform legislation in U.S. history. H.R. 8454 is not just historic because it's the first standalone cannabis legislation in U.S. history. It is also going to play a major role in ending federal.
In October, Biden requested that the Department of Health and Human Services. Sorry. I think we're lagging. I think somebody's lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
It might be me.
We are.
But in October, Biden requested that the Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, and the Department of Justice, the DOJ, evaluate cannabis' Schedule 1 status. The CSA establishes a process for determining the scheduling of substances and relies on research to support any movement across the schedules or to remove substances from the CSA altogether. For years, the feds have used the same outdated studies showing that cannabis is dangerous and without medical benefit. This has created a catch-22, as described by cannabis policy expert John Hudak in a 26 interview with the NPR.
Now, there is this cannabis catch-22, and it is a Schedule 1 drug. It is very difficult to do research on the plant. There are only certain researchers who will get the certification and license necessary to handle the drug. Then, of course, you need the funding to study it. You need approval from university institutional review boards, and the burdens that exist to do the type of research on a Schedule 1 drug are tremendous. But that research is what will inform the medical community as to its medical use. And so what you need and what you can do are entirely prevented by this federal government policy. H.R. 8485 will allow researchers to finally break this catch-22 loop. More research will give HHS and Department of Justice more data that will support the fact that cannabis Schedule 1 status is absolutely ridiculous. This could very well lead Biden administrations to remove cannabis from Schedule 1 and hopefully from the CSA altogether. Yes.
Yes. Pardon me. The CSA governs drugs at the federal level, including cannabis. Any controlled substances must be handled in compliance with the CSA. Cannabis is a Schedule 1 substance in the United States, which is the most restrictive category for any drug in the U.S. in the U.S. Schedule 1 substances are nearly impossible to research because they are deemed to have no medical use and too dangerous for use even with a doctor. The legislation requirements for any persons or entity hoping to research scheduled substances are contained in the 21 U.S.C. 823. The new law amends this by requiring the Attorney General to register practitioners to conduct research on cannabis and its derivatives, extracts, preparations, and compounds. If the applicant's research protocol has been reviewed and approved by the Department of HHS, the National Institute of Health, and otherwise in compliance with federal regulations on research protocols, the applicant must also demonstrate how it would control cannabis to prevent diversion or otherwise unlawful use. It still seems like a lot.
I don't know why they have to worry about diversion because it's available almost everywhere in the States. It's very strange. H.R. 8454 also outlines what an application for cannabis research will entail. It also establishes security requirements and requires that the Attorney General and HHS consult to determine if there is adequate supply of cannabis, including specific strains for research, and prepare a report to Congress on the matter. H.R. 8485 also allows institutes of higher education, practitioners, or manufacturers to manufacture, distribute, disperse, or possess cannabis or cannabinol if the purpose is for medical research or drug development, as long as that person or entity is registered with the Food and Drug Administration.
Mm-hmm. HR 8485 also mandates that HHS, so the National Institute of Health, and other federal agencies all report to Congress on the CBD cannabis, including Delta-9 THC, and the barriers associated with researching cannabis and CBD in the states that have legalized their use. HHS and company will also be required to make recommendations on whether state legal cannabis can be researched by federal agencies. Well, here's hoping that this is going to be an amazing step, a powerful step to get this off Schedule 1 down in the United States, because it's just, man, they're really falling behind with it.
It is moving, but it's at a snail's pace.
Oh, even slower, even slower. Pardon me. We're going to head over to Yahoo News. This one caught my eye. Again, in the United States, who are moving really, 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 really slow with cannabis. Psychedelic Health Insurance Administrator Enthea raises $2 million seed round.
The funding will allow Enthea, the first provider of insurance plans for psychedelic healthcare, to enter into 40 markets with at least 2 providers each throughout the United States over the next year. The company expected to amass $37.5 million in earnings by 2026. Also plans to expand its consumer base and provider network, further educating on the medical benefits of psychedelics on mental health diagnosis, like depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and making treatment more accessible.
This year, Enthea partnered with Dr. Bonners to offer ketamine-assisted psychotherapy as part of the company's health insurance plan, making it the first employer to do so. These therapies, again, this is the United States who are still dragging their feet on cannabis. These therapies, which I just find funny, while hugely beneficial, cost thousands of dollars. So most Americans won't have access to what could be potentially life-saving treatments. There's a real equity crisis. We found this medicine that's incredible, and the studies are showing that it's more effective than anything else we've seen, but people won't be able to afford them. That's why Enthea needs to exist, says Enthea co-founder and chief executive officer Sherry Reyes. Furthermore, with its medical policy and credential processes, the company is ensuring safe and accessible psychedelic therapies.
It always seems to be too expensive.
Yes.
With the rise, Enthea will partner with 100 customers in 2023, including Tushy, Daybreaker, and Gwyn Partners. Tabula Rosa Ventures is an ideal partner as they are the first psychedelic accelerator for new startups, the company said. There's only a few dimensions through which you can actually truly increase patient access to psychedelic therapies, and probably one of the core ones is insurance and insurance reimbursement. I think Enthea is by far the furthest along in being able to do just that at the highest quality possible with a super stellar team, said Mark Hazam, Tabula Rosa Ventures founder and managing partner. The funding allows the debut of several other brands in the psychedelic space, such as Field Trip, which provides in-facility and at-home ketamine therapies as the overall category continues to grow. Enthea is expected to channel $600 million of employer funding to psychedelic-assisted therapy by 2026. Wow.
Yes, I love it.
That's a 4-year time span. That's fast. That's really fast.
That is. And I have to say it one more time. Look at how long they've been trying to work with cannabis and get it off Schedule 1, and look at how fast psychedelics are raising down there. I think it's amazing.
I think that's because of the experience with most of these states with cannabis.
Yes.
You know, the sky didn't fall and nobody died. That was the big thing, right?
Yeah, well, they're still dragging their feet on cannabis, though. I mean, the country as a whole, we've got a lot of states that have stepped up. But yeah, I think it's really exciting that they're doing this, and then the insurance is going to come through. I can't wait to see, report on that on, a company here in Canada. Like that'll just be absolutely thrilling. We're going to head on to our next story coming to us from MJ Biz Daily. Cannabis packaging rebrands can draw consumers, create cohesion, and reflect values.
Be at the forefront of the latest cannabis. That's just an advertisement. Hold on a second here. A strong brand can give companies name recognition and longevity, a key consideration for cannabis companies as they expand into states with newly regulated markets. Businesses undergo rebranding for a myriad of reasons. but getting it right is challenging, said Elizabeth Corbett, who is Vice President of Sales for AE Global, a Florida-based packaging solutions company that helps cannabis operators with rebranding.
Yeah, Corbett said companies rebrand for 4 major reasons. They're repositioning the brand to better reflect its spirit and identity. The brand has become stale and needs a refresh. The product has changed in terms of its ingredients, efficacy, or characteristics. The company is addressing sustainability, either through the product itself or its packaging, which can significantly change the look and feel of the brand. As the cannabis industry becomes more mature, particularly in states such as California, the market has become saturated and very competitive, Corbett said.
And getting the right branding and packaging design is an absolute must in order to separate yourself from the crowd and drive revenue. Change in Rhythm. San Francisco-based Rhythm launched a line of hemp-derived CBD-infused beverages in August 2020. The company originally offered its products exclusively online through direct-to-consumer sales, but has since expanded to include more than 40 wholesale distribution points in 5 states. The company's original packaging was designed by one of its founders who had a background in graphic design.
Ooh. And they've got a before and after picture down here for it. But after more than a year of sales and listening to customer feedback, the company determined it needed a new look that would give consumer products more information and easily digestible in an easily digestible way. Oh my goodness! Co-founder and CEO Ian Monet said. And here's the before and here's the after. The company worked with VoiceBox Creative, a Bay Area branding and packaging design agency, to refresh the identity and create a more memorable presentation. Rhythm's original packaging looked like a hard seltzer, giving consumers the impression it contained alcohol rather than CBD.
You know what's funny? I never thought of that until I went back to the pictures, and it's true. It looks like an alcohol beverage on the left.
Yep, I agree.
Post-rebrand, Rhythm comes in brightly colored cans with the word sparkling hemp beverage displayed at the top and the product's intended purpose. Energy, hydrate, recover, and sleep, next to the brand name and flavor. We flipped the order of importance, Monette said. We pulled the fruit image off and promoted the functionality of the beverage. All you see is a strawberry on the can. You don't know about the magnesium or B vitamins.
Rhythm also changed what it was calling the effects for 3 of its 4 beverages. Dream became sleep, awake became energy, and sport became hydrate. It illustrates the product's functionality. Sleep has moon and stars, hydrate has a runner, and energy is depicted by a lightning bolt. Escaping the old look, Denver-based, Escape Artist, a cannabis manufacturing company that offers pre-rolls, tinctures, and topicals, revamped its image to ensure its products stand out as the brand expands into new markets. For now, the company is focused on regulating Midwest and Southern markets and has plans to expand to both coasts.
As you get ready to expand into new markets, I'm excited to get our topicals on shelves all over the country, Escape Artist CEO Alison D. Spralto said. When Escape Artist rebranded, it took the opportunity to improve the sustainability of its packaging while increasing its visibility on store shelves. Packaging that was once black and white is now teal and gold. Elements are carried across Escape Artist product lines to give the brand a more cohesive look. It's fascinating when you look at the pictures of before and after. And I don't think too much until I read the story, and then I realize what they're saying is really true.
Yeah. It's not bright and in your face, but it's recognizable. Even down to how we laid out the labels and the font. There's a lot of required information on regulated cannabis products. We think the layout and the way we presented it is easier to understand. In terms of sustainability, Escape Artist glass jars, plastic lids, and pre-rolled tubes are recyclable. The company also moved to a domestic producer for its exterior boxes, which are made of recycled cardboard paper.
The box is to protect the product, Spralto said. It's on a bumpy vans during transport. The jars bounce around and might brush off some of the contents on the labels. We've done tests without boxes, and they often get banged up without a protective layer. Thousand Oaks, California-based Canna Rivers rebrand took the image of its CBD products from earthy and rustic to vibrant and colorful. a move the company says helped boost sales by 134%. When Canada River launched its earthly industrial packaging in 2019, it exclusively offered hemp-derived products. The rebrand coincides with Canada River's introduction of 6 new collections that include Delta H THC, Delta 9 THC, hex hydrocannabinol, or HHC products, and other likely reasons sales have spiked. Another likely reason.
Look at the difference there. We found that the rustic look wasn't truly speaking to a broad range of cannabinoid users, said Amanda Wallace, the company's chief marketing officer. It felt very hippie-ish or industrial rustic. Wallace said the pop art inspired packaging targets a broader audience with its cheery, bright aesthetic. Cannabinoids are supposed to be happy, she added.
Although the language on the packaging hasn't changed, the design is more focused on showcasing the strength of Canada River's products by increasing the font size for how much of each cannabinoid is used. Our competitors' products are half the strength and double the money, Wallace said, adding that Canada River's products are all priced at less than $100. Miss Grass wants to be the brand that women turn to when they're looking for quality cannabis.
So when the Venice, California-based company rebranded earlier this year, it looked for ways to break cannabis' traditional stoner image. A lot of these masculine brands have really dark colors, psychedelic graphics, and language catered to the male stoner bros. Says this beautiful lady that Paranaka. Yeah, the company's creative lead. Wow, what a name. What a beautiful name. I wish I could pronounce it properly. I feel like I'm not doing it justice. It really perpetuates the stigma around cannabis being something that is used as a drug to escape reality, rather than that more conscious relationship to the plant. With a woman-centric audience in mind, Miss Grass looked at its neon party packaging and determined it needed to change to better reflect the more mature female consumer.
Women are the fastest growing consumer segment in the industry and the most underserved, Julio says. We're striving to offer something that taps into this femininity and breaks the traditional stoner trope. This is an opportunity to own what feminine energy looks like to us through packaging, colors, and expressions. Color was the key to bringing the idea to life. The goal of Miss Grass' new color-coded packaging is to reflect what's in the jars, tubes, and boxes, as well as the effect the product will have on the consumer.
For example, the company's sativa dominant fast time strain comes in a blood orange packaging. The thinking being that both the effect and the color elicit feelings of brightness and physicality. In contrast, the company's indica dominant quiet time strain is in a sapphire blue to give a sense of calm, sensuality, and bliss. If you focus on the intention with packaging for greater purpose, it can help debunk the stoner bro culture and tap into what your audience wants. It really makes a difference to be intentional and conscious and set ourselves apart in a male-dominated industry.
Now I have to ask you, have you noticed that it's male-dominated packaging? I would never notice anything like that. I'm just wondering if you would have noticed that.
No, it's I'm not one, coming from the legacy market, when I go into the legal stores, I'm more concerned with what's inside the package than what the package looks like.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's more male-centric, because I never really noticed that. Not that I would notice that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something that I've noticed or paid attention to, simply because I'm not one of the people that looks at that. The only thing that I think that we should change is we have the kids' candy stuff in identical packages with THC down in the corner. I think the THC should be large, and that's the only thing I would change. That's the only thing that I've seen but besides that, I don't know. But now when I go to the dispensaries and both, legacy and legal, I'm gonna look and see if I'm feeling like my femaleness is being paid attention to. I don't know. On to our last story, which is kind of a fun one. This is something that I do when I take my psychedelic medicine, if I'm going to be taking a larger dose. Lemon tack. Lemon tack. Everything you need to know about this trendy new way of consuming your magic mushrooms.
From drinking lemon water to using it as a natural cleanser, lemons have a multitude of benefits. For some celionauts, that may mean making your magic mushroom trip shorter, more intense, and tastier. If you're a celionaut, who's into
Yep.
the latest trends. That's just someone who likes mushrooms, silly or not.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Into the latest trends, then you're probably heard of lemon tech. But what exactly is it? In short, lemon tech is a way to make magic mushrooms more potent by soaking them in lemon or lime juice for 15 to 20 minutes. The psychedelic mushroom or psilocybin mushrooms are reported to become up to 4 times as strong. While the jury is still undecided on how it works on a chemical level, many anecdotal reports claim that lemon tech makes your trip shorter and more intense. Of course, there are a few things you need to know before you go ahead and start dosing yourself with lemon tech shroom.
I don't know. Doing yourself sounded better. Yeah, lemon tech is amazing. One of the other benefits, I'm not sure if they're going to mention it or not, of lemon teching is, I mean, anybody that eats mushrooms knows that they're hard on your stomach, they give you some gut rot. Lemon teching cancels that out.
Great.
Yeah, it protects your stomach. So it's a great way. It's a better way to do it for your body and more comfortable for you. I don't know if it makes it shorter, but it definitely makes it hit faster and a little bit stronger for sure.
That's
It's all
surprising.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's all thanks to the acid in the lemon juice. While magic mushrooms are soaked in when magic mushrooms are soaked in lemon or lime juice, the acid breaks down the cell walls of the shrooms. This makes it easier for your body to absorb the psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. As a result, you feel the effects of the psilocybin mushrooms much sooner, and the trip will be much more intense. Trust us. This is not something you want to do if it's your first time taking magic mushrooms. The mechanisms behind lemon teching have yet to be concretely understood. However, we do know that the citrus juices carry a pH similar to stomach acidity, between 2 and 2.6 as opposed to 1.5 and 3.5, and that the D of the shrooms enzymes intensifies in such acidic environment. However, lemon teching does more than just improve the taste of magic mushrooms. Some psychonauts speculate that lemon juice chemically converts psilocybin into its prodrug psilocin. Psilocin is what causes the hallucinations and other psychedelic effects associated with the magic mushrooms.
So, does lemon tech amplify your psychedelic experience? The jury's still out on whether lemon tech actually does make magic mushrooms more potent. There's no scientific evidence to support this claim, but there are plenty of anecdotal reports from people who claim that soaking your magic mushrooms in lemon juice accelerates the onset effects and concentrates psilocybin psychedelic effects. Soaking your shrooms in citric juice is also reported to get rid of the 1 or 2 hour wait between simply taking mushrooms and feeling their impact. If you're interested in trying lemon tech, there's no harm in giving it a shot, pun intended. Just be sure to start with a lower dose than you would normally take, since the effects may be stronger than you expect.
Absolutely. And when they say shot, pun intended, is like when you prepare it, like you grind up your mushrooms, you put them in a shot glass and you pour lemon juice over it, you stir it up, you let it set for 20 minutes, and then you shoot it like a shooter. So that's the whole pun intended, right?
Okay.
Oh, I think we're about to talk about stomach stuff here because we've got somebody holding their tummy. Of course, with anything that promises to make your experience more intense, there are a few risks involved. Some people may argue that the faster journey is not always better. Soaking your mushrooms in lemon juice will make them more potent, which means there's a greater chance that you'll have a distressing experience if you're an inexperienced psychonaut. If you decide to lemon tech your shrooms, make sure you start with a small dose and work your way up from there. A fast come up may have a downside, maybe. When you lemon tech mushrooms, the effects come on faster and are more intense. However, the trip will also end sooner. When you lemon tech, the peak of your experience will come sooner than it would by simply chewing dried shrooms. In terms of duration, a trip that would normally last 6 to 8 hours will be shortened to 4 to 6 hours, and you'll start feeling the psychedelic effects within 10 to 45 minutes. I'd say 10 to 15, as opposed to the typical 30 to 90-minute mark.
And some people want the effects of magic mushrooms to come on quickly, while others find the slow build-up more manageable. If you've never lemon tech before, the quick come-up may feel too much to handle. This leaves no room for adjusting or getting used to the psychedelic experience. You should ease into the experience so there are no surprises. And a warning for those with a sensitive stomach. Those with a sensitive stomach might experience some acid reflux when lemon teching. If you want to reduce the chances of having any gastrointestinal problems, fast for 3 to 4 hours beforehand. Just be aware that fasting can make the experience more intense. In addition to fasting, pay attention to your diet in general a few days before taking the lemon tech mushroom trip. Eat healthy foods and avoid alcohol.
Psilocybin can also increase your blood pressure. So if you have any sort of heart conditions or high blood pressure, it's best to play it safe and avoid lemon tech altogether. This is not something that I've heard. That's the first time I've heard this. We're just cutting down on time now. I'm watching it. The reported benefits of lemon teching are accelerated onset effects. Absolutely. Shorter trip duration, which can be good because not everybody likes to trip for 8 hours. There's a much better taste. It tastes like, the taste is like pulpy lemon juice, identical to pulpy lemon juice, and decreased nausea. And this is what I was saying earlier. According to some psilonauts, the acid in lemon juice breaks down the chitin, that's what it's called, which are the cell walls found in magic mushrooms. This is one of the main reasons why some people experience the nausea or the stomach pain, literally, after consuming magic mushrooms. If you're someone who suffers from severe nausea, drinking mushroom tea might be a better option for you, as it doesn't contain any chitin. And you can also add a little bit of lemon to that just to help, break that down faster. Yeah. So how to make a lemon tech? I pretty much just told you. We're only running out of time. That's the only reason why I'm pushing through this a bit faster. They've got a lot of questions here with a lot of answers. You can go take a look. They say let the mixture sit for 15 to 20 minutes. I was taught let it sit for 20 minutes exactly. You can find what's right for you. But yeah, so there you go. It'll teach you how to make it. It'll tell you a little bit more about it and answer some more questions. I'm sorry to cut off the story because I really thought that was a really cool story. So yeah, if you get stomach issues from eating your mushrooms, go learn how to lemon tech. It'll change your life. I promise. Yeah.
There was something completely new for me. I never heard of that before.
Oh, there you go. I think it's a pretty cool one. It's one of my favorite ways to take my mushrooms for sure.
CBC and lemon tech.
CBC and lemon tech, absolutely wonderful things. But that is our psychedelic and cannabis education news for today, December 8th. I think I wrote 12th in the I think I put down the wrong date when I did the opening. We'll have to fix that. And from the legacy420.com news desk. And in closing, we'd like to thank you for watching us and thank our sponsors, legacy420.com, Campbellford Lifestyle. And Glenn and I will see you all next week and catch Kelly and Al on Monday with the psychedelic and cannabis education news. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you from Ontario next week.
We will.
Later, folks.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partners 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.